Material capital is based on our IQ intelligence, our rational, logical, simple problem-solving intelligence. IQ and material capital are about what I think. Social capital is based on our EQ, or our emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is my ability to feel what others are feeling, to understand where others are coming from, to understand my own emotions and be able to control them. EQ and social capital are about what I feel. Spiritual capital and spiritual intelligence, SQ, are based on my need for and my ability to access and to use my deepest meanings, my most fundamental values, my deepest purposes. Spiritual intelligence and spiritual capital are about what I am. So IQ is about what I think, EQ is about what I feel, but spiritual capital, spiritual intelligence, SQ, is about what I am. To build spiritual capital, I must build myself. One of the greatest misperceptions in modern society today is that the individual doesn't count for much. We have this, on the one hand, glorified concern, this obsession with the individual rights, the individual fulfillments, I, mine, me. But at the same time, we feel disempowered as individuals. We almost feel like victims of them. Who are them? Well, them are those people that make the rules, those people that make the money, those people that make the decisions, those people who take us into wars we don't want to be in, those people who do things in our society that we don't want done. But they've got all the power, and we're just victims. Rubbish. The great psychologist C.G. Jung said that the whole of life depends on the life of the individual. It is here in my deepest, most private, most personal self that I make the world I live in. The great Indian teacher Krishnamurti said, I am the world. But let's go to science for something even more powerful. Have you heard of the butterfly effect? The butterfly effect is from chaos theory. You see, in the old physics, the physics of Isaac Newton, on which our whole culture has been based, if you want a big effect, you need a big cause. Well, in a world like ours, where the troubles are so huge, that, of course, makes you feel, what can one little individual do? However I change myself, I am helpless. But the new physics of the 20th century, chaos physics is one of them, points out that at the edge of chaos, where things are very unstable, the smallest effect can make the smallest cause can make a huge effect. And they illustrate this with the so-called butterfly effect. The chaos scientists have pointed out that a butterfly flapping its wings in Beijing, one little butterfly, can cause a hurricane over Kansas City on the other side of the world. This is indeed the way our weather systems happen. It's the way we are created as human beings. All organic systems on this planet, from the smallest amoeba to we complex human beings, are self-organizing, adaptive systems poised at the edge of chaos. The individual has enormous power. What I am, what I think, what I do, what I take responsibility for, makes the world in which I live. It makes the world in which my children and my grandchildren will grow up. So if I want to change the world, I begin by changing myself. Well, that sounds very nice, but how do I do it? We don't like to change ourselves. We don't like to be fulfilled, happy, purposeful, meaningful, useful people. But we are only human, we say. whole passion, I don't know if the person who interviewed me said this, but my whole passion and background in all of my life has come from physics. I was a science weirdo in my teenage years, and I spent all my adolescence building mad scientist devices in my bedroom. And I wanted to be a quantum physicist because I wanted to change the world and so on. Well, I went into philosophy in the end because I thought it was more powerful than physics, but I stayed with the inspiration from the physics. And when I look to how we can become better human beings, I look to those complex adaptive systems that science says we are. Biologically, we are holistic, we are self-organized, we are emergent, we thrive on mutations, we are exploratory, we are in context with the environment, in constant dialogue with the environment. These complex adaptive systems make order out of chaos, they create new information. Life defeats the law of entropy. Entropy says everything is running down and going into chaos. Complex adaptive systems poised at the edge of chaos make new order. They create new life. They defy the law of entropy. They defy the destructiveness. So in looking for how we could change ourselves as human beings, I looked to these complex adaptive systems and the properties they have. And I looked for conscious equivalents of them. How does a conscious, thinking, aspiring human being take on the qualities that we are biologically and live them in our psychological daily lives? And I avowed what I call the 12 principles of spiritual intelligence. I argue in my book that if you follow these 12 principles, if you really practice them, if you really understand them, you will become the kind of person you aspire to be. You will become productive, useful, happy. You will make a difference with your life. You will make the world in which you live